Hello, I'm Amy from moonmindology.com, and today I am looking at the chart of Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, otherwise just known as plain old Lula. This is the president of Brazil, and he assumed office 1st January 2023. And his bio is quite interesting, as he originally comes from a poor family of farmers, and his father went off somewhere and started a new family, and then him and his mother and siblings went to live with the father and the new wife, and as you can imagine, wasn't very pleasant. Lula's mother and the siblings moved again after a few years of living with this wife, and after that they didn't have much contact with the father. Lula seems to have had quite a number of turbulent experiences during his life. He had 2 wives that died, and the first died whilst she was pregnant, which also killed his first son, unfortunately. And then he had a daughter with a woman that he didn't marry, and that daughter he didn't have anything to do with until she was an adult. And then he married his second wife, who herself was a widow, and they had 3 children together. But tragically, she died of a stroke, and in 2019, which I don't think was too long after she died, he served time in prison over corruption. So what a life. Let's dig right in. The ruler of the 1st and the 6th is in the 9th, which means that teachers and philosophy are very interesting to him, and they can be a real pull towards travelling. There's also something about the father that may have inspired him to make the choices that he's made as an adult. And there can be a problematic relationship with the father, or he can be sickly. He was an alcoholic. Higher education can be difficult as well, but this is a good situation for work. Mars in the 9th, debilitated, but it does get a cancellation, but it will still always be a bit of a problem. So he may have had some problems with teachers, luck, and travel in general. There can be a weak spot with the muscles and the blood, and the father relationship with him is troubled with such a poor Mars in this place. But there could be some problems with religion as well. Saturn in the 9th, he may not be interested in religions, but there could be problems with teachers and, again, domineering father. Problems with education and travel. So the moon's in the 9th, which can give very stable mental health. And the relationship with the mother is mostly supportive, and there's good luck as well. So he may actually have religion, but he may have a push-pull relationship with it. And he could be favoured in the court of law as well. However, the moon still brings instability, so it's going to be problematic in those areas. Pluto in the 9th can be a fanatical person who believes in their own beliefs, and they may inflict it on others as true, and the father can be controlling as well. So there may be a little hint of arrogance there. Mars and Saturn are exactly conjunct, which are opposing energies, and they can create this real push-pull dynamic. And this is incredibly frustrating, but it's also seen in people that work very, very hard and achieve their dreams through grit and determination. But you've got Chandra Mangala Yoga here, which creates problems with his mother, as well as there's a possibility that he fought with her a lot. But it's a good yoga for money and success. But as I said, fighting with his mother. So there can be a proneness to anger as well, but that's passion. So he cares about the causes that he fights for, and he always wants to be careful not to let his anger control him, because that passion, it burns so fiery. The moon and Pluto conjunct, well, controlling mind, can manifest as OCD. His mother was domineering and difficult by the looks of this, and there can be an element of powerlessness in his life. The 9th ruler in the 9th. This is a great interest in law, travel and religion. And the interesting thing is that as much as there are problems with his father, he seems to be a source of great inspiration for him. And I think that this negative impression of his father was probably a great driver for his interest in politics. The third and the fourth ruler is in the ninth. So there's a great love for travel and teaching. So problems with teachers, but he likes to teach himself. So he could be a publisher, and his father may have played a part in influencing his career and life. And his mother may have been spiritual. Kala Sarpa Yoga, extreme situations. It can create a lot of turbulence. And due to the axes, this is a duality between poverty and wealth. And he would have experienced both in his lifetime, and it's evident from his short bio. As well as the 8th house being about scandal, and the 2nd is about family and security. So that's where it really played a point. Also, we can see that this is on the Ardra and Mula axes, and these nakshatras are incredibly destructive, but at the same time they are some of my favourite because they expose the ugliness of the world for the better and burn away the old to give for new life, no matter the impact, but it's for the greater good. And the wisdom that is found through suffering at these points is so beautifully tragic, but ultimately it's very necessary for a generation of more wisdom. Rahu's in the 8th, so this can create a great interest in science, metaphysics and banking. There's great benefits from handling other people's money, and he can be controlling with these things, and there can be problems with addiction and a deep desire to have power. And K2 is in the 2nd, and that can create a loss or a sense of loss during childhood and a lack of stability. But there could have been someone who was very ill in the family as well, and there could have been financial issues. Teeth. 2nd house is teeth. The teeth can be weak, and there can be skills in the foreign languages as well, but a tendency towards the consumption of things that are bad for him. The sun is debilitated in the 12th, so the confidence can be adversely affected, and there can be problems with his father, of course, because the sun represents the father. The heart, the lower back can also be vulnerable, and there can be problems with people, thieves. Mercury's in the 12th as well, so this can create issues with anxiety, but it also gives an interest in communicating and also charity work, humanitarian causes. He could be interested in history, but again, foreign travel. Mercury in the 12th, he could speak a foreign language as well. The ruler of the 8th and the 11th is in the 12th, and this can be gains and losses throughout life, and the best way to deal with these is to move towards spirituality for the most part. But foreign travel and the desire to live simply can also be helpful for this. Friends can cause problems, and they can create a sense of disappointment, but there's an interest in philanthropy and humanitarian causes, but the eldest sibling can have a difficult life. The ruler of the 10th and the 12th instantly takes me into thinking of institutions. So this will be government work and charity. And as Mercury is nearby, there'll be an interest in communications, travel, and writing. So PR things, sales, all things that are very important in politics. Venus is in the 11th house, debilitated, but this is in a Parivartana yoga with Mercury, which reduces the problems ever so slightly. So there can be problems with attaining goals and getting opportunities. And there can be problems with the eldest sibling, and friends can be problematic and lead to disappointment, as well as there being problems with kidneys, thyroid and the throat. But this can cause problems with romance as well, and the wife. So Jupiter's in the 11th, which can create good opportunities and help cancel out the aforementioned issues with a debilitated Venus. And this helps with luck and opportunities as well as improving the situation with his friends. So it may not be as bad as I initially thought, but there can be passive income and an interest in philanthropy. So there is a lot of pointers that say he is interested in philanthropy. So I think that when he went into, especially as he came from humble beginnings, when he went into politics, his main concern was a philanthropic venture to try and uplift the people and try to help the people. I don't know how that's I don't know too much about the politics in Brazil, But I think from the most part, his humble beginnings, he has good intentions, or he had good intentions. The ruler of the 2nd, 5th, 7th and 12th is in the 11th. So this is very strong placement for money. It's a Dana yoga. So money can be made through the 11th house thing. So that can be politics, and it can even go down to sort of like groups, and through his associates and friends. Lula may be very likable, and his marital partner can be met through social networking, through groups, and through humanitarian events. So his wife will be a friend, and they both have similar goals and believe in, the humanitarian effort. Neptune is in the 11th, which can give a very glamorous or spiritual friends. However, there can also be problems with dishonest people who may have mental issues or addictive personalities, and the eldest sibling can fall into that or just be delusional. Uranus is in the 7th, and this can create sudden changes and unconventional partners. Of course, we do know that we had the sudden passing of 2 wives, and Uranus here can create a sense of separation. And the ruler of the 7th is debilitated, so this can create some problems in marriage as well. And in his case, unfortunately, it led to the sudden death of 2 of them. Lula is currently in the grand cycle of Mars, and he's in the sub-cycle of Jupiter. So, as he's in the dasha of Mars, it's debilitated, and Jupiter is very close to a debilitated planet. So I don't know how good this period is going to be for him, and I would be inclined to say that there are problems. Interestingly, I had a quick Google, and he has some hip issues which can be related to the 9th house. Everything seems to be reasonably quiet for him for the rest of the year, other than some trinal aspects from Neptune to Mars in September and Saturn in October. So there could be some kind of legal confusion or wavering in an element of philosophy. I have read that Neptune can be linked to public rebellion as well, so the public could be screaming about something at the end of the year. Mars is to do with real estate, and Saturn is the land as well as oil. So there could be something to do with oil as well. The trine tends to be more of a positive aspect. So there could be some level of power that Brazil gets to do with land, or just plain old oil. Could be a happy little deal with another BRICS country. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week for the usual stuff. Thank you very much. Bye.